Hi everyone, welcome back to Wrestling Fun with Father and Son. I'm Father Matt, and again, just like the AEW video, there is no Kai. He's gone away for the weekend, but he'll be back tomorrow when we do the NXT TakeOver Blackpool reactions. But without further ado, this is the Out of the Blue Smackdown review. Smackdown, 10th of the 1st, 2020, started off with Miz TV, with the Miz coming out and saying that the fans have said that he's changed, but he hadn't changed. He was just having a really bad day last week when he attacked Kofi, and that he let emotions get the better of him, and he was sorry. And that, to be fair, it's been a bad month for him losing to The Fiend, but there was a bright spot, which was Jim Morrison, who he then called out. Jim Morrison comes out. They had a bit of a recap of Jim Morrison's history. If you didn't know who he was, he's a very parkour inspired wrestler, and he's been an Intercontinental Champion and a tag team with Miz. They show some highlights of that. They said, or should I say, John Morrison said that he was going to come back at the Royal Rumble, but because he'd seen about the Miz and what's happening with the Miz, he thought he'd come back as his friendship was quite important. Only for him to say that he was disappointed with the universe and the fans for booing the Miz for having just a bad day, effectively turning heel. John Morrison is now going to be heel, and he was like bigging up the Miz, and he said he the fans didn't appreciate Miz, and then he assaulted the audience. Only for then the New Day to come out, and Kofi said he didn't buy Miz's apology, that he's not that good of an actor, and that the Miz is changing. And then they had a match, Kofi versus the Miz, with Big E and John Morrison on commentary. They didn't stay on commentary for very long, because partway through the match, Kofi got thrown into Big E by the Miz. Big E then squares up. John Morrison then squares up as well with all of them. They surrounded the ring. Then we had Kofi Kingston got thrown out of the ring. At one point, Big E was sort of rallying around, sort of clapping, only for then the Miz to step out onto the apron, sort of do a kick shove to Big E, and then Big E squared up to the Miz, only for then John Morrison to do his parkour sort of flip thing to take out Big E, and that caused distraction to Kofi, and then we had a skull-crushing finale, and the Miz took the win. Then we had the Fireflies Funhouse. Bray was saying that he loves us, and that love is special, but what the Fiend feels for Daniel Bryan is the opposite of love. He said that he was in a heap of trouble at the Royal Rumble, that he wanted first for Bryan to remember. Obviously, Bryan and the Wyatt family go back, there's a history there. He wanted him to remember that. Then he wanted to change Bryan, and now he just wants to hurt him. And that was the end of that. Then we had Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville backstage. Mandy Rose was getting ready for a match. Sonya Deville was talking to her, only for Mandy Rose not really to be paying attention, but said she's got to do something before the match, and she had this box. Then we went to the ring, and there was Elias who did a song about the Rumble. Not much to that. Then we had Otis and Tucker backstage, where Tucker was telling Otis, "You got to focus. You got to forget about Mandy." Only for then Mandy to appear with this box. She said she was sorry and to try to make up. This was like a cake that said, "I'm sorry." And then Alexa Bliss come out with Nikki Cross versus Mandy Rose, who had Sonya Deville. Only for partway through this match, Heavy Machinery's music to hit. Otis and Tucker come out, eating the cake. That caused a distraction to Bliss. Mandy Rose got the win, which was quite interesting that she actually got a win. Then we were going to have Lacey Evans versus Sasha Banks, but Lacey Evans comes down. Sasha Banks' music hits. She doesn't come out. Only for then Bayley to be on the screen to say Banks was AWOL, that she had other commitments, doing a rap album, or something like that. Then Lacey Evans got a mic and said, "Well, I'm ready to fight. Why don't we have a match?" Only for then Bayley to say, "No, I don't want a match." Lacey Evans then left the ring, went to the backstage. We then cut back to backstage where Lacey Evans tried to go into Bayley's locker room, only for then Bayley to jump her, attack her. She turned her back on Lacey Evans to walk away, only for then Lacey Evans to jump her and fight back. Then they got separated by a referee, and that was the end of that. Then we had a Daniel Bryan interview where he was backstage and says Bryan knows that he can beat the Fiend. Only for then the screen to come on behind him, and it was Random Rabbit who said that he had a secret that the Fiend can be beaten. Only for then Bray Wyatt to sort of muffle the Rabbit's face and say, "Squealers get punished." Then we had the next match with Strowman versus Shinsuke with Sami Zayn and Cesaro. Again, the same sort of thing, which I'm getting bored of now with Sami Zayn and Cesaro and Shinsuke. They all interfere. That's what had happened. And Cesaro interfered. He tried get in the ring with a chair. He got caught, only for then Zayn to throw the title. That missed. Strowman then power slammed Shinsuke and got the win. So it looks like Strowman's going to get a title shot some way, probably at the Rumble. I think he's going to be the next Intercontinental Champion, to be fair. I think it's safe to say that he's going to be the next champion. Then we cut back to backstage. Brian was there. He had this gift box, and in the gift box was a Ramblin' Rabbit, all dishevelled and beaten up, sadly. But as we know, with the history of Ramblin' Rabbit, he always comes back. He's been through so many deaths now. It's I can't even count them, I don't think. And then we had the sort of final bit of the show. Roman Reigns came out to a promo, said he's been outnumbered, he's been jumped, he'd been embarrassed by Corbin and Ziggler, but he needed the help of his family, and that 2020 was going to be his year. He was going to win the Royal Rumble, go to WrestleMania with the Usos by his side. The Usos then came out. They said about their 5 months out that Corbin had been disrespecting Roman. They couldn't stand by and watch it. So then Corbin came out with Ziggler, and then he said in his promo that Roman Reigns was scared to face him one-on-one. Only for then Roman to say, okay then, fair enough, we'll have a match at the Rumble, and I'll enter the Rumble, and I'll beat you twice. And then they had a match. It was Corbin versus the Usos, or so to say, Corbin and Ziggler versus the Usos. But there was a quick start to the match, quick flourish, as the Usos jumped over the top rope to Corbin and Ziggler, who were walking to the ring to start the match. Halfway through the match, Viper come down halfway through the match to distract the Usos, only for them to be walking back to the back area, only for Roman Reigns' music to hit to take out the Revival. Towards the end of the match, Corbin got Jimmy Uso. He threw him into Roman Reigns. Corbin threw Roman Reigns into the barrier, only for them Roman Reigns to have enough of it. He speared Corbin, effectively causing a DQ. He set up the announce desks that looked like he was going to put Corbin through it, only for them Robert Roode to come back. It's funny that the commentary said that he'd been out for a month because of an attack by Roman Reigns, when we all know it's a wellness violation, that he got tested and he failed, so he's been out for that, suspended. And in the end, it was a spine buster from Robert Roode to Roman Reigns on the announce table. It didn't break, so they could they have their moments when they don't break, and they kind of go, oh, it didn't break, what do we do now? And they can kind of see that they're kind of thinking about it, and then all of a sudden they sort of put Roman Reigns on the table, and it was an elbow drop from Ziggler, who put all his weight onto Roman Reigns to break the table. It was quite a funny spot, to be fair. They do this, sometimes they do this, sometimes the props don't work the way they should do. And that was how they ended it. Smackdown, yeah, it had a few cool points. Bryan's progressing quite nicely. The Roman Reigns thing is a little bit kind of same old. I wouldn't put it past Vince McMahon to let Corbin win the Royal Rumble. I can see that happening, but I think he's right. I think Roman Reigns is going to be his year. They've kind of held back on him in 2019. I think they're going to push him in this year because their fans are now getting back behind him. They're booing him a lot less, from what I can tell. So we'll see what happens with him this year. So yeah, Smackdown, let's say, I think it was quite cool. It was an average sort of type of show. I don't think it's to the moon and back at the minute. It's really not like 1,000% brilliance. It's not, but it is better than Raw at the minute. Just what to say. Anyway, the next video, oh, excuse me, the next video we will have, which will be NXT Takeover Blackpool 2 reactions. Bit of a mouthful that, and we will have Kai back. So yeah, you have to join us for that. So if you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in that video. So I'll say goodbye, and like I said in the last video, I would say goodbye from Kai too, so I'll say goodbye. Bye.